Good morning, and behind me we have the most photographed house in the whole of Tuscany, if not Italy, so I'm told by the guidebooks. The reason I've come today is because I wanted to try and get a really nice sunrise. I was hoping to get some mist, but I'm going to have to come back later in the week because all we got was one tiny pocket just out of shot.
And there we have it. Whilst I'm trying to take the classic shot, I'm missing all the others that I could pick out with a long lens. This video is about picking out stuff and looking for the less obvious, sometimes with a long lens, sometimes not. So let's start with a classic Belvedere. There are 3 different areas to shoot from towards this that are quite popular. But if we can drag our eyes away from the obvious and rather beautiful spot, there's so much more to discover just by looking in different directions. Now here I'm really interested in how the light is hitting those hills, but it's not until you put on a long lens then boom, there we are, there's the result. Now that long lens has allowed me to pick out part of the scene where the light was working its magic, but the rest of the scene was quite flat. Now this more intimate version of the shot doesn't really work for me. The context of the trees at the bottom is really important to balance the scene out. Same location, different viewpoint, different morning, and oh hello! Long lens time! Although so far we've only looked at the Belvedere area, all along this valley has beautiful scenes just waiting to be discovered. Now I acknowledge I'm in a rather gorgeous place, however the principles remain. Look beyond the obvious and you will find some incredible secrets waiting to be captured. Now this last picture shows the Chapel Vitelletta, shown here on the opposite side of the hill with a rather intriguing lone tree, which I just had to investigate. A windy walk down a windy path followed by a nice little jaunt through the valley, and there she was, in all her glory. My lone tree. It took me 4 days to find this little beauty on that lovely road, but by God it's gorgeous. A friend had told me about a long and windy white road where I would find a lone oak tree atop a hill. When we did find it, we spent a good hour or so waiting for the clouds to build up as they did every single afternoon. Finally, it happened. It's okay. So back on those white roads to our next location. They don't really do the car many favours. Up one unassuming road is a small chapel, a location immortalised by the UK landscape photographer Charlie Waite. I just had to visit it. Rude not to, really.
Well, there's no doubt about it. You absolutely do not need the sun in this shot in any way, shape or form. What I'm having to do is be very careful that at the top of the building, I'm not getting too much of it peeking through at the top. But for this, what is really special is the contrast between this beautiful bark here and the lovely paleness of the yellow. It's just quite soothing. I know it's a cliche, but I'm quite pleased I've got it.
Right, back to our map. We're heading on the SR2 for another cracking long lens location.
So what I'm doing here is I'm scouting for tomorrow morning, and I'm at the kind of an area panoramica, which is effectively a circle of trees where you've got panoramic views right the way around. I wanted to get up a little bit higher so I could look over the road at the undulations opposite. There's the clump of trees, and if the traffic going in the background is going on past it on the SR2. But in the background there, that's what I'm more interested in. In the background we've got lots of things that are undulating. Those undulations, about an hour to an hour and a half after sunrise, really could be quite interesting.
Now, I was also scouting because I wanted to come and shoot this clump of trees at sunset, but it just wasn't inspiring me at all. No matter where I placed myself, I couldn't get rid of that ugly, scrubby foreground. Whereas the potential of this scene first thing in the morning, now that excites me. The next morning, as the sun came up over the distant hills, those undulations started to really take shape. Yeah, okay, I need to be a bit selective on where I zoomed in on, but with a 100 to 400 lens, it was really starting to look exciting.
This morning was the 5th day in a row that I have got up at 4:40, and I must admit today was difficult. I nearly didn't get up, and this is me being honest here. I just wanted to go back to sleep. However, oh boy, am I glad I did. The joy that I have had in the past half an hour is really quite something. This is supposed to be a sunset place, but what I've done is completely ignore that, and I've gone over to this side of the road. Literally, I'm shooting over the highway there, and I'm picking out little vignettes, and do you know what? It's been an absolute joy. I can't tell you what a buzz I've got from just picking out stuff. And it's not the traditional one, and I'm liking it because I've ignored everybody. God, this is great. I think the thing that I love about the South Downs and about this time in Tuscany has actually been about picking out those little shots as you go through. Sorry, my hands, can't stop moving my hands, I'm so excited. Sorry. But I love that as well about the South Downs. I'm starting to get to know places where you can pick out, as long as that sun is right, who cares? Yeah, just get the side lighting and it looks so flippin' good. Oh. So now that traffic is building up and it's time for me to go back and have some breakfast. I need to work out how I make the best value out of the last 2 mornings that I have here.
I settled on Belvedere for some lovely mist, but oh well.
Morning. We're on our way to the airport from San Chirico d'Orcia, and I wanted to stop at San Gimignano. It's an hour and 30 minutes from San Chirico, and an hour further on to go to Pisa Airport. There is the viewpoint, a lovely viewpoint. Can't see a damn thing though, because we are absolutely surrounded by mist, but this is what I do have, which is quite nice. And what I've got is some of the layers gradually coming through to that little villa on the top there. But what I'm trying to do now is go on a long lens, and I'm honing in on a section of these lovely vines. What's not attractive are the bits on the end that are holding them up, but I think I'm eliminating them just about. So as you can see, I've got a nice little foreground there. It's a little bit too much space for my liking between that and what's going on at the top. In the opposite direction, about there-ish, are the towers of San Gimignano, allegedly. I've seen them for about a minute. They're all closed in and got all very mysterious. The low-lying mist never quite reached the town, and when we did have mist up there, couldn't see a jot. So I'm guessing that I might have to rely on coming back in the future. May not want to tell Nigel that one quite now.
Well, thank you for joining me in my long lens as I explored some intimate landscapes in a very famous area. If you felt you could support my channel by giving me a like or a subscribe or telling someone else about it, I'd be hugely grateful. Meanwhile, I'll see you next time.